Welcome back to Wayland Gymnasium. Bob Bonner, Rico Block with you on the campus of Fort Lewis College in Durango, Colorado. Welcome to the Skyhawks Invitational. If this is your first time joining us today, where you been? We've had some pretty good volleyball.
Yeah, boy.
And more to come. Here's a couple of teams that came into this tournament expecting to win and lost their first games. Texas A&M International dropped a decision to Fort Lewis, swept last night 3-0. Southwest Oklahoma State got handled earlier today by CSU Pueblo, a team that was winless, 0-5 going into that match. Texas A&M righted the ship this morning after the loss to Fort Lewis. They beat East Central University out of Ada, Oklahoma, and beat them handily. This looked like a much better Texas A&M International team. Not that they looked bad last night against Fort Lewis. I thought they looked
great.
Pretty good. Fort Lewis just looked better. Southwest Oklahoma State, on the other hand, did not look good earlier today against CSU Pueblo. I've had a chance to even visit with a couple of the parents and fans, Rick, and they said their team did not play well. It's one of those long road trips sometimes, and they were the last team to play a game in the tournament. They watched a lot of other games first, and it just didn't feel like the Bulldogs had gotten off the bus yet in that one. So hopefully they're warmed up, got their rhythm. I know their fans are expecting a better effort out of this game, and a couple of Lone Star teams that should know each other pretty well. I'm expecting a pretty good match here.
Yeah, I'm hoping that it'll be a good match, and you should never do this, but
you're going to anyways?
Well, I mean, based on what we saw earlier, that's all we have to go by, right?
Sure.
What we've gone by earlier is that, on paper anyway, Texas A&M should really.
Yeah. The Dust Devils have looked better than Southwest Oklahoma in the small sample that we've seen.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying.
But this is volleyball, and the tables can turn quickly in this sport.
Well, there you go.
And that's something that they didn't have, was Haley Smith coming up with big hits in that game against CSU Pueblo. They get a smash out of Smith, the 6'2 sophomore, transfer from Nova Southeastern.
Prosper, Texas.
Division
I like the
2.
name of that.
Yeah.
Prosper.
Southwest Oklahoma serving. Holloway, the libero, serving there. Dust Devils with an answer to tie it at one apiece and get a side out. Mia Molina played a big role, I think. If they are better today, it's because Molina is better than what they were doing last night.
Yeah.
She didn't play much yesterday, and she's played well today. There's a player we didn't see, Jasmine Garcia, the senior middle blocker. We didn't see her at all. And we saw her last night. She played the entire game. We didn't see her at all in that earlier game today. Garcia in there come up with a big point for Texas A&M International early in this one. There's Liggett, who was absolutely on fire against East Central. She misfires there.
Well, you got Liggett and Mott at the net, and even though Mott is shorter, we complimented her on her athletic prowess in the first game we saw, and clearly already we can see that was not a fluke.
And she gets a hand on that one. She is a leaper, is Mott. But Liggett, with confidence, swung through it there, hit through the block, and scored the side out and the point for the Dust Devils. Lexay Perez, the libero, will serve now for the Dust Devils. They lead it 3-2. At the net, Mott on the attack, and she picks up where she left off. We talked about Southwest Oklahoma State did not play well in their first game today. That does not apply to Mott. No. She was a high-flying stud in that first game. There just wasn't quite enough of her to go around.
But here we're tied 3-3 early.
We are. Bulldogs hanging tough with Texas A&M International so far. These two teams came in, A&M International and Southwest Oklahoma State came in a combined 7-1 in the tournament before dropping their first games each. Southwest Oklahoma State with a lead here. Cameron Turner serving.
Yeah, total miscommunication on that. everybody backed up thinking somebody else was going to take the set and just didn't happen.
Well, and that's the sort of thing that can snowball. Now, next time, everybody could go for the ball.
Exactly.
Said communication and rhythm, so important in volleyball. Let's see if the Bulldogs can push an advantage. Boy, Perez has to go to work to get at that one. Cameron Turner on a little bit of a roll at the service stripe, and the Bulldogs up by 3. I don't think they led by this much at any time in their game against CSU Pueblo.
Well, they already look like a different team.
Mm-hmm.
Look at that.
Oh, and look at that
Ace.
serve. Perez looking a little demoralized. Her and Melina both, who were stars of that win over CSU Pueblo, neither one of them a factor early in this one. Cameron Turner keeps picking her spots and throwing darts. The sophomore setter, a 6-foot setter, too. That is a weapon. Hodelon throws that one across. Southwest Oklahoma State able to get it back on the other side of the net, but it's out. Hordelon's first kill of the game. She's been their most consistent player across their first 2 games. Julia Hordelon, the senior out of Sao Paulo, Brazil. Back set to Kuzma.
Kuzma, we talked about her in the last game. She played well.
She showed flashes. She's her second best hitter behind Mott. And yeah, if she can be more consistent this game, that's going to change things. Right now, Southwest Oklahoma State showing how unpredictable early season volleyball could be. A&M International looked like the better team on paper coming in. Hordelon misses the corner there, but it's Southwest Oklahoma State with a 9-4 lead early in the first set. And their stud, Lacey Mott, serving.
Not expecting this. But again, you're right. You know, you never know what's going to happen in these games. Look at that.
Hordelon with the smash. The block is there. And Hordelon into the net there. The block was out of bounds, but the Bulldogs going to keep rolling with Mott at the service line. A&M International trying to rally with a cheer from the bench. Hordelon again. She's going to poke that one deep and out. And a chink in her armor. We have not seen her make mistakes like this through 2 matches. A&M International scrambling a little bit. Obviously going to their most steady player, Rick, and she hasn't had an answer. Hordelon, for the first time this weekend, struggling a little bit. And all of a sudden, the Bulldogs look like world beaters.
Yeah, I mean, again, only being able to go off of a prior, seeing both teams, I would not have guessed that the score would be 11-4 at this point, and it just goes to show the resilience of Southwest Oklahoma State University.
Well, and just how quickly momentum shifts in this sport.
Yes.
Got to tip your hat to Coach Collins. He had his team ready to come out and challenge this match after what was a disappointing match. The only reason I thought Southwestern Oklahoma State had a chance is because some of their parents convinced me that this was a better team than what we saw earlier today.
Well, there you
and
go.
I kind of thought, I was like, they came in with a 3-1 record. I didn't think there was any way that they couldn't be better than what we saw earlier. And, yeah, some of the parents confirmed that for me. And their players are backing them up here, leading 11-4 in the first set. Lacey Mott continues to roll points at the service stripe. Hannah Thompson beats the block that time to stop the bleeding.
And she didn't play much against Fort Lewis. A little bit, but she didn't play much. But she did play a lot against CSU Pueblo and was a factor.
Well, and Thompson was out there against Fort Lewis. When she was really quiet, though, because the Skyhawks just had someone to counter her all over the floor. Boy, that's a really, really nice tip from Galt, but A&M International able to scramble and keep the point alive, but Kuzma comes up with a left hand to find a hole in the defense there. That was a tough set. Kuzma made a great adjustment to score the point. 12-5 lead for Southwestern Oklahoma State. And, yeah, I don't think anybody saw this coming. Kuzma to serve. Off the mark there, catches the tape, and it comes down on her side. She'll rotate out. And the libero, Permenter, back in there. Back to serve is Hannah Thompson, fifth year out of Casper College. Big smash there.
Nothing they could do about that.
That was number 16, Maddie Clark, who we talked about. Southwestern Oklahoma didn't have anything, with the exception of Mott, couldn't get anything on their attacks. We have seen some real power in the kills here in this match. Chavez serves. Molina, someone in the net there. It was number 4. It was Mott who was in the net for Southwestern Oklahoma State. Doesn't change the outcome on that point. A&M International, Emma Lade, their setter, played a really, really nice game against East Central earlier. Good tip by Smith, but Molina able to get it back across. Middle set to Clark, and that's too deep. Did they tip it? They did tip. Number 9 got a piece of that, Jasmine Garcia. That's Kiana Holloway. She played libero earlier today in the win over, or in the loss earlier today to CSU Pueblo. Permenter back in there in the libero spot now. Holloway rotating in and playing back row. Serves good. Boy, and the Bulldogs just...
Wow. They're laying the lumber right now.
Yeah, I mean, Texas it's Texas A&M International that's stuck on the bus here right now. The Dust Devils just lethargic on that side of the net.
She had a couple of miscues on her serve in the last game that we saw.
Holloway, a 5'4" junior. She's the transfer from New Mexico State University, the former Aggie. Misfires on that serves. Bulldogs try and get it right back. Clark sends it across, or excuse me, that was Sparks who sent it across. Big block from Sparks there to deny Hortelon. We're going to send it to the middle to Mott, off the block of Garcia, I believe, and out of bounds. Oh, it just looks like it hurts to be on the other end when Lacey Mott whines and lets one go.
She gets up there and hits the ball. You know, it's got to be painful for sure.
Permenter sends it across. They're going to set it up for Liggett. Southwestern Oklahoma able to dig it out of the net. Holloway just going to pooch it over. A&M International sets up and goes too deep with that one. Garcia on the misfire there.
Good job by Permenter to not hit the ball. And they're scrambling.
Brittany Harry.
Texas A&M is scrambling.
Yeah, Brittany Harry going to call it time. And that's the problem, right? They're waiting and reacting and not dictating pace and tempo. And I think that's probably what Brittany Harry is going to tell them. This is one of those timeouts. It's early enough at only 17 that she waited a couple more points. I'd say it was strictly a timeout to try and get her team to improve before the second set. I think there's a little bit of that at play, but down by 9, I still think there's enough room to 25 for Texas A&M International to get back in this, especially if Southwestern Oklahoma State shows us anything like what they did earlier today.
Yeah, if they hiccup, I agree, but the way they're playing right now with a lot of confidence,
International is going to have to force something here.
It's going to be a challenge. They have one of their
come back out with the same unit here. This is the unit that made CSU Pueblo look so bad earlier today. Or, excuse me, East Central. The serve is deep, so the timeout works to stop the bleeding at least. Let's see if the Dust Devils can run points now. Perez, the libero, on to serve. Down 17-9 in set number 1. Southwestern Oklahoma State looking for their first win here in Wayland. And there's another. Boy, if there's a Haley Smith is playing much, much better than she did earlier today.
And we didn't see her much.
Well, she missed with everything. And that she was the player who I kept saying, man, she's only a couple inches off with the ball on her hand or a couple of millimeters off, but it was ending up being a foot or 2 foot out. And I got the impression that, and even if she's streaky, at least you're getting some of the good streak here, right? They didn't get any of that earlier. Oh, look at the play by Mott.
Oh, my goodness.
Southwestern Oklahoma State, boy, big effort from them. There's Hortelon. You knew sooner or later she was going to get dialed in. If A&M International is going to get back into it, Julia Hortelon's going to have to get it done. So a relief for the Dust Devil fans to see her have something positive happen. It's probably the first time in this set. Liggert sends it across. She was really good earlier today. Here comes Mott. Sends it down the line. Liggert able to keep it alive. Perez with a free ball. Turner sets Mott again, and she blisters that one through the block and in. I mean, and that's Mott hitting against Thompson. Right. Mott at 5'6", Hannah Thompson at 6'2". And you see Mott took it off the side of Thompson's hand between her and the other blocker, but with so much force that it still landed in. 19-10, Mott to serve, and she's just as good back there as she is on the front row. Nice tip by Hortelon. Good hustle by the Bulldogs to try and keep it alive. Galt able to get a hand on it, but not enough to pop it in the air. Hortelon has scored a couple of points here for A&M International. She's back to serve now. Clark handles that one. Galt unable with the left hand there off a quick set. Galt is a player we haven't really seen her get going. She averages 1.69 kills per set, efficiency clip of 210. Boy, Hortelon way deep with that one. And they've had a couple of service errors. Otherwise, A&M International, I think, has steadied the ship a little bit here, Rick. But without those service errors, they might have had a chance to get back into this set. Kuzma going to try and put it out of reach here. Oh, boy, is that a big hit from Molina, who's been awfully quiet in this game. I don't know if there's enough time left, but I do think the Dust Devils have gotten better since that last time out.
They're down by 7 with
boy, and they're serving to that deep corner a lot.
Oh, down by 6. So the rally begins.
Maddie Clark, that was an attacking error. That was actually into the net. And they're going at Clark on the serve, too. Watch Thompson going to send it back to that corner. Oh, and that's a break. She caught a lot of tape there. Not much Cameron Turner could do with that.
Nothing to apologize there. Down by 5.
20-15, and all of a sudden you see the coaching staff for Southwestern Oklahoma on their feet. Turner leaves it for Galt. The tip there, we still haven't seen Galt extend and really unload. 4 hits as Molina has to dig it out of the net. Boy, did Southwestern Oklahoma State need that.
Yes, they did. That was something that stopped the water from flowing out the dam.
There's a hole in the bucket, dear Liza.
Yeah.
Chavez on to set and serve. Boy, there's a battle at the net. And that's one that Sparks should win. Yeah, Sparks, the 6'2 junior middle blocker, taking on a good setter in Emma Lade, but Lade at only 5'9", should not come out on top of that and didn't. Southwestern Oklahoma State 3 points away from picking up their first set win here in Wayland Gymnasium this weekend. A&M International not giving up. Molina goes at that block hard twice, denied by Sparks and Smith twice.
Yeah, I mean, that was just a stuff. I mean, there was nothing that was going to get through those two. That was a really good play. 2 points from the set.
Chavez rolling points now as the Bulldogs survived a pretty big run from A&M International. That'll be a point for Garcia. But the Dust Devils running out of time and points now. They're going to have to be all but perfect as Lade steps back to the service stripe. Back row, Permenter receives. Quick set to Smith, who just a bit off again. Didn't get our hand on top of that one enough and sent it a bit too long. Leads down to 6. Lade will serve. Permenter, nice pass up front.
Oh, boy, big block
and a
there.
big hit from Sparks. Bigger block from Garcia and Liggett. Lead is down to 5, 23-18. Lade will serve again. Permenter gets that one too far out there. The setter, Chavez, tried to set it back to her teammates so that they didn't get crushed by the big net players of Texas A&M International, and she had to go over the net to do it. Another point for International. They trail now only by 4. There's a tip. Well played by Liggett. Set up Molina for a tip into a double block. Somebody in the net.
I think that was number 14, Zoe Sparks, in the net. And it was an 8-point lead down to 3. And they're going to call timeout. And I think that's a really good timeout to take.
Well, this is the second run now from Texas A&M International.
Yeah.
They put a run together to get to within 5 and then shot themselves in the foot. The Bulldogs were able to rally, run a few points off with Chavez serving to get themselves up 23-15. But, yeah, 5 straight now from the Dust Devils and Emma Lade. And when suddenly they're in range, Rick,
oh,
this is not about, playing better, finishing this set strong with a chance to do better in the second set. I think it started that way for Texas A&M International, but now I think they got to be tasting it a little bit.
Yeah, I think at this point they're going, boy, we have a chance to come back here. We can just win a couple more points.
But if you're Josh Collins, you're reminding your team, hey, we get one side out here and we got a set point.
Yep.
We're serving set point.
Yep.
We still just need one side out. So come up with it here, make a play. Everybody remember your responsibilities. Lade going to try and keep the run going. Another nice serve from her. Smith tries to go right sideline and misses wide.
Well, here we go. Down by 2. Serving down by 2.
Emma Lade, the 5'9" sophomore from Howard Lake, Minnesota, has had a really good day today after having a pretty quiet one yesterday against Fort Lewis.
Well, here we go. Now we're down by 1.
Permenter, the libero, couldn't get to that one, and Collins going to call another timeout. I don't blame him because you do not want this thing to get tied.
Right.
And God forbid you lose the lead. Southwestern Oklahoma State's ego has got to be fragile enough from the way they lost earlier to a winless CSU Pueblo team. CSU Pueblo was 0-5 going into that match against the 3-1 Bulldogs. They came out of it 1-5. These Bulldogs 3-2, and they looked like they had righted the ship and were really in control of this thing. But
they were up by 7, 23-16 is the last numbers I recall.
Wow.
Now it's 23-22. That's quite the roll that they're on.
Yeah, this thing was all but over. And if A&M International is able to come back and win this set, it's going to be really, really hard for the Bulldogs to come back emotionally, I think. They'll have a couple games here. Both of these teams with a couple games here tomorrow. Or actually, I think A&M International only has one game here tomorrow. Because they played last night. That's a big, big point for the Bulldogs.
Molina with the error on that, I believe.
And in to serve is Holloway. And she's a good server, but she's had a couple service errors.
Yes.
The Aggie transfer from New Mexico State. Let's see if she can close it out. Serving a set point here. Bulldogs looking to win their first set in Wayland at this tournament. Catches some tape. There's a big block.
Boy, they were very lucky on that set
by
because
Sparks.
Their momentum was definitely moving towards Texas A&M International University.
Credit to the Bulldogs. They hold off the late charge from the Dust Devils and go up 1-0, but this one's shaping up like the last one. I don't know that we're going to finish this one in 3 sets. I'll be surprised if A&M International doesn't come back strong in set number 2. We'll take a couple minutes and be back in just a bit. Welcome back to Wayland Gymnasium on the campus of Fort Lewis College in Durango, Colorado. Thanks for tuning in to the Skyhawks Invitational. Bob Bonner and Rick O'Block with you on the Skyhawks Sports Network. Stream the tournament live all weekend on our YouTube channel. 5 teams in town along with the Skyhawks. The Skyhawks and the East Central Tigers will close out this second day of the tournament. Southwestern Oklahoma State and East Central, the only teams in the tournament who haven't won yet. There's been some parity in this thing as Texas A&M International lost to Fort Lewis last night. Was able to beat CSU or beat East Central today. CSU Pueblo lost to Angelo State, came back, beat the Southwest Oklahoma State team a couple hours later. Now, Southwestern Oklahoma State wins the first set here against the Dust Devils, looking to pick up their first victory in the tournament. Smith hammers that one into the block of Molina and Garcia. They're able to keep the wall, hold the wall over the top of the net, and score the first side out of this game for Texas A&M International. They lead it 1-0. The setter Lade serves.
Oh.
Maddie Clark with a big swing there, but A&M International able to get it back across the net. Clark again. Oh, what a dig by Perez. She's got to send it back over. Another free ball. Right now, Oklahoma State driving the action, and Smith off the block. Haley Smith has definitely been better than she was earlier today. The 6'2 sophomore out of Prosper, Texas, a transfer from Nova Southeastern. Struggled, had a lot of attacking errors in the first match, but she started to paint the corners a little bit here and work well off the opponent's blocks against Texas A&M International. Molina
big block
into the block, a huge block from Smith and Sparks. Molina, I think, was the difference maker for this A&M International team as far as any player who rose above what they did in the loss last night. I thought it was Molina in that match against East Central, but Southwestern Oklahoma State has had a bit of an answer. They've stifled me a bit in this match. There's a big block from Mott. Lacey Mott hits it so hard. That came back off the block and out of bounds, but it had touched a Bulldog player on the way by. So tied again at 2, and Molina back to serve into the net. For Mia Molina. Permenter, the libero, serves, catches the tape and drops it in front of Perez. A&M International got a kind roll on the tape late in that first set, Rick, and it almost played a big role in them coming back and stealing the set.
Well, right now, momentum for the game is a little bit with Southwest Oklahoma State, but
big hit from Liggert there. She wasn't as much of a force in the first set of this one as she was earlier today against East Central. If she starts to feel it, it's going to tilt the tables back towards the Dust Devils for sure. Here's Mott with a tip. Hortelon keeps it alive into the middle. Thompson didn't get much on that.
Oh,
Mott gets a lot on everything. That one laid up along the sideline. Nothing Emma could do with that.
It's amazing the vertical that Mott has at 5'6".
You know, and I mean, that's good, but then the hand-eye coordination and timing.
Yes.
To make that hit every time at the absolute top of the jump.
Yes.
I mean, we have not seen – she maybe had one attacking error in that match earlier. She is as close to money as it gets. Boy, and there's Liggert with her second straight kill. Liggert struggled a little bit in set 1, but finding it here, and that's bad news for the Bulldogs.
Well, Liggert is definitely a force.
Well, I said that. Left hand also makes things a little difficult for teams.
There you go. That's a perfect example.
Dropped a nice serve in front of Permenter there.
Literally no spin on that ball.
The Southwest Oklahoma State team is streaky. We've seen that. Yeah. They've got a pretty good ceiling, but the floor is concerning, and Colin's going to have to do a coaching job on this team to get the best out of them as much as possible. Nice and that's play. A nice roll play there to Kuzma off that far pin. Clark back in on the front row as Holloway rotates out. Back to serve is Mott. Her team up by a point here in set number 2. They won set number 1 over Texas A&M International.
Oh.
Mott, that thing just kept climbing.
Yeah, it was going out. No doubt about it. It was going out.
Surprised that Perez played that over her head in the back row, and I think that's what Coach Henry is telling her. Give yourself a chance and let that one go. Mott hits such a heavy ball, and she knew that last one was going to go deep. She tried to take something off of that one. Instead of just serving it again, she tried to take a little off of it and put it in the net.
Yeah, I mean, she's just not a player that you see a lot of errors out of.
Well, I don't think she's a player who thinks about her game much. I think she's just really instinctive, and I think she overthought that last serve. That is the best hit we've seen from Taryn Galt today.
Yes. I agree completely.
And the fact that Coach Collins is stuck with her on this, he hasn't looked to sub for her once as far as I know. I knew this was coming. Yeah. It's scorers got to score, hitters got to let hitters keep swinging through slumps.
Yep.
And Galt with a big kill there. Comes back with a big block.
Well, I mean, you've got Clark and Galt at the net, and Galt's 6
They're imposing.
Sparks is 6'2". Very imposing players.
Texas A&M International has to call a timeout here. Suddenly the Dust Devils reeling again. And, I say that I think Southwestern Oklahoma State is a streaky team. Texas A&M, I don't think we've just seen two different teams from them, right?
Yes.
The team we saw against Fort Lewis last night was pretty good. The team we saw against East Central, I think the same team then this morning, different outcomes. Fort Lewis was just too good for them last night. They were clearly the better team over East Central. Right now, I think Southwestern Oklahoma's throwing them some stuff that they're just flat.
Yeah,
this
I
does
agree.
not look like the same Dust Devil team that we saw play in the first two games. I don't know that I think Southwestern Oklahoma State is better than they were earlier today, but boy, Texas A&M International is not.
Well, I'll tell you, for a team that came in
4-0.
4-0
and lost a good match to a good team in the first game.
Yeah. But
and then showed how good they were against East Central. Right now, they don't look like a 5-1 team.
They do not look like a 5-1 team.
Last night they lost, but they still look like a 4-0 team. They don't look like a 5-1 squad right now.
No, they've got to get it together.
Boy,
That's
Molina
nice.
didn't get a lot on that. It was a rare missed set by Lade, excuse me.
I think
Molina able to find a spot in the defense.
Yeah,
so.
I think she intentionally hit it to that spot.
Good adjustment. Turner on to set now. It's in rotation. That one's off the block of Galt.
9-8. Hannah Thompson with the serve.
Looking to tie it up here.
Nice serve.
Boy, Mott has to play that right back across the net. And Garcia then able to beat that big block of Clark and Sparks. Didn't get it sealed up in the middle. And we've seen teams, most teams like to attack from the edges, but we've seen teams do a good job of mixing it up. Thompson going to give it right back, a much-needed side out for Southwestern Oklahoma State. See Smith and Chavez back in. Chavez will set and serve. Smith to the front row.
Those service errors can just take the wind out of the sails, you know.
If the other team takes advantage of them. Let's see if the Bulldogs do that here. Up by a point. They led by as many as 3 before that little mini run from the Dust Devils. And there's another big hit from Garcia in the middle. She didn't play earlier today.
Right.
She struggled a bit in the first set, but Coach Henry is stuck with her, and it's starting to pay dividends here in set number 2. I think Garcia looks pretty good. Chavez sets it up for Clark, and Clark didn't really know what to do with that one. Ended up putting it in the net. You've got to make up your mind as a hitter.
Yeah.
You know, very rare. We see enough athletes who make up their mind late and get away with it. But for the most part, you're playing against quality defenders. You better make up your mind as a hitter and go.
Well,
and now we see Clark just sort of struggling a little bit. Yeah. She's going to come out. Macy Morgan, the 5'10 senior. One of 3 players on this Southwestern Oklahoma State team from Edmonds, Oklahoma. All of them went to Deer Creek High School. I don't honestly know how many high schools there are in Edmonds, Oklahoma, but.
Oh, miscommunication there by Southwest Oklahoma. Permenter and Mott.
They're having that moment that Texas A&M International had in the middle of the first set, right?
Yep.
Collins going to call a timeout and try and stop the bleeding a little bit, but the Dust Devils have established control of this one and lead it 13-10. Try and catch you up on where the two teams are at statistically. Molina has started to heat up a little bit for the Dust Devils. Mott, we know, always brings it for Southwestern Oklahoma State. Each of them with 4 kills to lead their respective teams right now. And my internet gets slow right when I want to use it. Actually, Molina up to 7 kills now. She's been a big part of this run. Overall, Texas A&M International with an 18-15 edge in kills. Both teams have been a little error-prone on the attack. 11 errors for the Dust Devils, 10 for the Bulldogs. Hitting percentages, Dust Devils at 179, the Bulldogs at 143. Lade serves with a 3-point lead. Sparks comes up with a kill just when her team needs it the most.
There wasn't much on that, but it was just great placement off the hands of the blockers. Drops in for a point. And that was a big point because they were sort of losing some momentum.
Oh, they lost a lot of momentum there. Holloway. It went from a 3-point Bulldog lead to a 3-point deficit. Holloway to her counterpart Perez. Molina with another kill. She is really, really starting to feel it. She's got 8 now, and she won herself the serve. Lead for the Dust Devils is back to 3. One more game on the docket tonight. East Central will square off against the host Fort Lewis College Skyhawks as soon as this one's done. Hortolon with a flat-footed smash. Sparks will just send it back across. Laid in the middle, Garcia with the tip. Along the near pin, no chance for Holloway to get to that one. And International buys themselves some breathing room. Molina back to serve. She's been the star of this match for him. Leads the team with 8 kills. Getting it done at the service stripe right now. Nice dig by Lade, but it is out of bounds. And the Bulldogs with a chance here. They stop the bleeding. Permenter, the libero, back to serve. Into the net with that one. And you really, really can't afford those when you're trying to make a comeback. We saw A&M International send a couple into the net when they were trying to get back into it in the last game. Probably ended up being the difference because it stifled their run as they charged back into it late. Perez finds Holloway in the back row, and now Smith. There is a tip at the net. The line judge, no doubt about the call. He was confident with it. Henry not going to challenge. The Bulldogs within 3 again, and Cameron Turner, the 6-foot sophomore setter, another one of those Edmond, Oklahoma players out of Deer Creek High School.
Must have been a heck of a class.
Yeah. Hortolon gets it across. Permenter handles back row. Up front, the big smash from Mott into a double block. Kuzma just gets it across with the tip. Hortolon winds up and hits. Kuzma denies her. And then a big smash from Thompson finds the near corner right in front of the line judge. And the lead is 4 again on the side out to Texas A&M International. Laird will serve. Nope, she won't. They're going to pull Liggert and bring in Kayla Quintana. We saw her serve to close out most of the sets earlier today against East Central. They will put her at the service stripe late. Nice. Boy, Mott took a little something off that one and almost scored it. They're going to go right back to Kuzma. And Thompson stuffs her. 18-13. And Southwestern Oklahoma State missed out on a chance there because they handled that serve from Quintana really well and just didn't get the setup that they needed to out of it. Texas A&M International looking to even this up at a set apiece here. They lead it 18-13 after losing the first set 25-22.
Their hitting percentage is .444 compared to .091 for Southwest Oklahoma
Yeah,
State.
Here in this second set, they've really, overall, they're hitting .217 and have taken control of this. 13-10 advantage in digs. An edge in blocks for Southwestern Oklahoma State. Also an edge in service aces, but they've also committed 2 more service errors than Texas A&M International. So the advantage they've enjoyed from the aces, they gave back in errors. And after winning set number 1, they find themselves down 5 here in the second set with Kayla Quintana, the sophomore setter out of El Paso, Texas, kind of their secret weapon server that they use to close out matches. Quintana plays it ahead there to Hortelon, who tips it into a block and is denied, unable to react and keep that one alive.
Have the Escalante girls volleyball team here to watch.
Very nice. My granddaughter will be one of them later in the year.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Yep. She's a Dogie volleyball player right now, but
Dogie?
Dogies.
That's the name.
Actually, she's in middle school, so she's a Cav right now. But when you get to high school in Newcastle, Wyoming, you become a Dogie, as in get along little.
Ah. And what exactly is a Dogie?
It's actually a motherless calf, so that's
really
been a debate. Supposedly, we're pretty tough, though, if you grow up without a mom, and so that's why they chose that as the
Dogie
nickname. And, you know, you get to play the Rawhide theme song several times during every home game.
I learned so much around you.
None of it useful or anything that you'll ever be able to place any value in, but Mott unloads that one, but Quintana is there.
It's a miss hit.
Free ball.
Set.
Boy, and they're just reeling right now. You see Morgan tried to send it over, but yeah, literally flat-footed on that entire point. Nobody on their toes for Southwestern Oklahoma State.
Well, and you wonder if second match in 2 days plus the altitude, if it's getting to them.
Side out, and it's a big one for the Bulldogs. They trail it by 6.
This is almost
Kuzma back to
near
serve.
opposite of what last
of the first set. Right? Yep, it just kind of makes you want, all right, get this set over, and I want to see which teams show up for number 3. Lade sends it back to Thompson, who puts it away.
This is a little bit more of what I was expecting when I came into the match.
Well, an A&M International right now perfectly content to swap side outs.
Sure.
If you get too content with that, though, it can be dangerous, as we saw in the first set when Southwestern Oklahoma State almost let Texas A&M back into it. Well, they did let them back into it.
They did.
They were able to snatch victory back from the jaws of defeat late and win the first set 25-22. Up against it here, down 22-16 in set number 2. The Dust Devils looking to even it up at a set apiece.
Now what's going on here?
Checking with the scorebook.
Something to do with the rotation or something. Here we go.
Let's roll it. Perez digs that one out. Garcia on the smash. And, yeah, there's flat-footedness again in Southwest Oklahoma State. Permenter made the nice diving dig, but her teammates were spectating at that point. Nobody got on their toes and got into position to help her out.
2 points away from set.
23-16. Laid the setter back to serve. She served that long run of points for him in the first set that came up just short.
Oh, boy.
And miscommunication there. It was a short set. I think she might have been trying to set up Garcia in the middle. Garcia wasn't ready, so it sailed over her head. It was supposed to be a quick set to Garcia and came down to the floor before Molina could get to it. What could possibly be the discussion here, Rick?
I don't know.
Yeah, that was kind of that was an unforced error. Everything was on one side of the net, right?
Yeah.
I mean, unless I completely missed something, and again, we see these decisions to allow momentum to be stopped.
Yes.
By officials. I think they, work a little harder to keep it going.
We when I was doing football, it's like, if you want to have a conference, you got to take a timeout.
Mm-hmm.
We're not able to chit-chat on the sideline.
Right. Yeah, I'm an official. I got things to do.
Yeah, well, I mean, for that exact reason,
Right.
right? You don't want to take the wind out of the sails of the other team.
Holloway serving. Liggert with the tip over the block. And, just the body language for Southwestern Oklahoma State is just not there right now. I think they're ready for set number 3. Molina just misses. A bit too long. Holloway made a bold choice in watching that one sail by. Kuzma is going to rotate back in for Sparks. Permenter, the libero, sends it over. Garcia denied at the net by Kuzma. Kuzma swings. She runs into a double block, and now Mott's going to try. Oh, man, does that thing sizzle. And comes back down on the Dust Devil side of the net. Lacey Mott's got a gun.
Yeah, she does.
24-19, Permenter. Laid with the back set to Liggert. Boy, she made her living on the tip in the second set, Rick. I can say that's one adjustment Southwestern Oklahoma absolutely has to make.
Yeah, and
is to cover the tips by Liggert.
Yeah, she's left-handed,
Mm-hmm.
so she lines up on the right side, and she's almost unstoppable.
Well, it gives her an extra split second to see the play and make the play, and she's used that well. And like I said, I think that's what the Bulldogs are going to have to adjust to. We're tied at a set apiece. Texas A&M International wins that one 25-19. We'll be back with the third set in a couple of minutes. Welcome back to Wayland Gymnasium. Thank you for joining us at the Skyhawks Invitational 2023. Bob Bonner, Rick O'Block with you on the Skyhawks Sports Network. Glad to be streaming live on YouTube with all 12 games of the tournament this weekend. We've got 5 more coming your way tomorrow. 1 more tonight after this one as Fort Lewis and East Central will square off. And Rick, you thought Texas A&M International was the better of the two teams from what we'd seen so far. Southwestern Oklahoma State muscled up, won the first set of this one, but then I think the Dust Devils showed you what you expected to see in the second set. Yeah. And here we come, set number 3, all tied up at 1 apiece.
Yeah, I think whoever wins this set will close it out in 4, just because of the momentum shift.
Mm-hmm.
And it's sort of been lopsided. Each set
has
been lopsided, mm-hmm. and so it's really tough to gauge which is really the better team, because I think they both are better than what they're really sort of playing at this point.
First point of this set's going to go to the Bulldogs. Yeah, Rick, and I think the lopsidedness has not necessarily been because one team or the other has found something and started to dominate. It's because the team that has dropped the set has played poorly.
I agree.
And has struggled, has gotten out of rhythm. And so, yeah, I think the momentum thing's big. Let's see if Southwestern Oklahoma State has found the combination again here. Looking for their first win of the tournament. They came in 3-1, lost earlier today. Texas A&M International came in 4-0, lost last night, but came back and won today over East Central.
Molina with a nice shot there. Down the line, down the net, I should say. She's been very good at serving, scored a lot of points off her serves.
Yeah, Molina has been their best player today at times. Mott with another kill there. That one she tipped off the block and out of bounds. Her athleticism just gives her an extra split second to make adjustments and do things, and makes her pretty hard to defend. There's Mott on the receiving end. They're going to go back set to Smith this time, and the improved play of Haley Smith was a big part of Southwestern Oklahoma State winning that first set. She's off to a good start here in set number 3. Bulldogs lead it 3-1. Permenter, the libero, serving. Molina handles back row to Liggert, and Liggert strong off that double block. And you saw the adjustment there. I don't know if you saw Holloway stalking the tip from the back row. I got to think that Coach Henry probably told Liggert she was going to have to go back to swinging away, that adjustment had been made. And Liggert found a good one cross court off the block. Perez on the serve. Mott! Just get out of the way.
Monster hit by Mott.
You probably tell from my inflection. I've now seen Lacey Mott enough. My voice went up before she even made contact with the ball, in anticipation of the hit that was coming.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned it earlier, but her timing and being able to hit the ball at the top of the arc is what generates so much power for her.
Well, there's more to it. Turner does a nice job digging that one out. Mott just going to have to send the free ball over. Laid in the middle to Thompson. Nice dig by Permenter. She's played well. Kuzma has come up big a couple of times, but A&M International with the answer there. Permenter, easy pass up front to Turner. Backside Galt off the block and back on the Southwestern Oklahoma State side of the net. Yeah, the other thing with Mott is hitting that ball just out in front of her.
Yes.
Is jumping accurately so that the ball, the set is out in front of you, and at 5'6", you can get on top of it and force it down into the court. Watch her here.
I mean,
that's textbook.
Yeah.
You can't do it. I mean, she hit it at the top of her jump, probably 8 to 10 inches out in front of her head, where she could get leverage down on the ball.
Yes.
And as a defender, there's not a damn thing you can do with that.
No, that's impossible to block or save.
Yep. Mott at the service stripe now. Perez does a nice job receiving that one. Hortelon tries to tip it into an open zone, but Turner there on the cover. Galt with a big flat-footed hit that found an opening in the defense. Galt is she just sort of goes along. You kind of forget she's out there, and then all of a sudden a big point from her.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like she generates a lot of big points.
Mm-hmm.
But she does have timeliness in some of her shots.
That's exactly the word I'd use. She does seem to get them at opportune moments. Laib at the net is going to tangle with Kuzma. Kuzma's got to be a soccer player. That's not the first time we've seen her use her feet.
Right. She had one in the previous.
That actually got
match.
back over the net.
Right.
6-4 lead for the Bulldogs. Hortelon serving. She has been awful steady for International.
Nice
And again, that's Galt who may be starting to assert herself a little bit. Permenter comes off as Sparks comes on. We talk about those moments when a team, and it always happens when you're serving, when your libero is off the floor, you really need a good serve, because if the other team's able to load up and come at you offensively, you're at an instant disadvantage. That's what's going to happen here. And you see the server, Kuzma, had to handle that. It's going to end up being a free ball to A&M International. Perez, the setup to Molina, and Southwestern Oklahoma State out of position defensively there. And there it is. It was Kuzma on your front row hitter playing back row. Good teams recognize that and go after it.
Well, and she's at a disadvantage because it looks like she's either got a soft cast or a wrap on her right hand.
Oh, look at that hit from Morgan. A&M International able to dig it out, but unable to execute offensively and get it back over the net when it's all said and done. Bulldogs going to hold on to a 3-point lead here. It's the setter, Chavez. Is that Helotes, Texas? How many Sandra Day O'Connor high schools are there in the Southwest? Nice serve there from Chavez. Drops it in front of Perez, a pretty nimble libero there on the other side. Unusual.
Helotes, Texas.
Nice job by Lade to keep that alive. Smith with the smash. Hammered right back at her into the double block, but easy doings for her to tip it right back into the hole in the middle of the defense. And timeout Texas A&M International, Rick. They find themselves suddenly trailing 10-5. And this now, I will say, this is the first of the three sets where I think Southwestern Oklahoma State is leading because they're playing better. This is the best I've seen them play. Galt has gotten involved offensively. It hasn't necessarily been the Lacey Mott show. We've seen good play from Galt on that side of the ball. Kuzma is contributing. Morgan out there. Permenter is sort of leveled off and gotten really steady at the libero spot for him in this set.
And Haley Smith has played well.
Yeah, Haley Smith has stepped it up. Right now, this is what I expected to see of Southwestern Oklahoma State. And it's got them up 10-5 here in set number 3. Rick O'Block predicted the winner of this set was going to put it away in 4.
Yep.
I am not ready to say that Southwestern Oklahoma State yet because we've seen A&M International make runs. This Bulldog team's a little streaky.
Well, I mean, you believe my prediction, I've got some land that I can sell to you real cheap.
Where is it?
Florida.
Side out to A&M International. That was a big serve, I thought, coming out of the timeout just because of the way A&M International. Brittany Harry has used her timeouts well all weekend, really. Morgan up from the middle. And again, we see when teams go to the middle, they have had a lot of success here this weekend. Everybody's geared up and defending the outsides. That's where the athletes are. That's where the action is. But, boy, when teams have picked their moments and gone to the middle, it's paid off for them. Holloway in to serve. Lade sends it back to Garcia. Big block from Smith and Sparks.
Yeah, there's no way that ball was not going to be blocked. They were just standing there waiting for that ball to come to them.
Well, and that A&M International tried to go middle attack, and guess what? Southwestern Oklahoma State was ready for it.
Yeah.
We haven't seen that happen too often. Like I said, the middle attacks have been successful, and Holloway is going to give it back on a service error.
She's had a few service errors, I will say.
which I've got to think is unusual because they bring her out to serve.
Yes.
Molina into the net gives it right back. Mia Molina is leveled off a little bit.
Yeah.
She's been quiet in this one. We're going to see her rotate off for Rebecca Pena. Pena, we have not seen much.
Nope.
5'4" defensive specialist. She's out of Laredo, Texas, hometown gal. They've got a few on the roster. Mott with a tip in the middle. Perez keeps it alive. Nice hustle play there by Chavez, And Mott with a big smash, just a bit long. The line judge had it over the end line.
Just barely out. Could not have been more than 2 or 3 inches out.
Still a 13-8 lead for the Bulldogs. The Dust Devils going to try and roll some points here. Their libero, Lixay Perez, on to serve. Mott handles back row. They go back set to Smith.
Is that touched?
I thought there was a touch.
I thought there was a touch too, but apparently not.
No argument whatsoever. Smith with a miscue there. She has been more accurate than we saw her earlier today. She's been a difference maker for him. Haley Smith, the 6'2 sophomore, transfer from Nova Southeastern.
Man.
Mott out, misses wide left there.
That was a barely missed hit by Mott. Lacey Mott.
But, no real reaction, though. You can see she just give it to me again.
Oh, yeah.
Good timeout by Coach Collins here. A&M International is starting to generate a little bit of momentum. And we're getting an introduction for the Escalante Middle School girls volleyball team hanging out up here next to Rick and I. In uniform. I don't know if they played earlier today or if they're just in uniform for
looks like it was a
showing up to the game. It almost looks like it almost looks like maybe, and they would have, middle school games were wrapped up about an hour ago.
Oh, yeah.
So
an hour ago.
What is Escalante? What are the Eagles?
The Eagles.
There we go.
Yeah, that's where my daughter went to school.
I know Miller's the Angels, right?
Yes.
And the high school team's the Demons.
Yeah.
Angels and Demons in Durango.
The Demons played last night in football. Whoa, they looked really good.
Well, that's just they're a legitimate program. There's no doubt about it. What, 4 straight Final Fours they've been to now, I think?
I think so.
One state title in there, 1 state runner-up.
Yep. 2 semis.
Yep, and then 2 semifinal appearances. And since I moved to Durango, we've had a fun. I'd say it's mostly because of me, Rick.
Oh, do you? I'm glad you feel that way.
Someone's got to.
We'll pass that along to the coaching staff.
Yeah, thanks. Well, they've had a couple of different head coaches. I think I'm the one
3.
consistent thing. Yeah.
3 head coaches.
In 4 years, and still have been really, really successful. Chavez with a nice tip there.
I think it's like anything, whether it's volleyball, basketball, football, you have to infiltrate the youth programs, get some of your philosophies, some of your expectations down at the lower levels. Some of the most successful programs there are coaches from the high school or college level that sort of infuse themselves into the younger kids.
But I also think sometimes it's easier than that, and it's something we've talked about earlier today. Our football program expects to win. Our kids, like you said, we've had 3 different head coaches, so these kids are coming up, who knows what they're getting as far as leadership from top down through the middle school and in the younger programs, because it hasn't really been there consistently, but they think they're good.
Right.
And if you think you're good, that's half the battle.
That is a lot of the battle. There's no question about that. And
having a few D1 athletes sprinkled into the mix hasn't hurt. We've sent quarterbacks to CU. We've sent a blue-chip 5-star offensive lineman to Kansas State this year.
And Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the Joshua Bates, I think it's Joshua
something
Bates,
else,
went to Oklahoma this year to play offensive line. So certainly you have to have the talent.
Speaking of high school, I said it earlier, man, I'd have liked to have watched Lacey Mott play high school volleyball.
Oh.
I bet there were games where, No, it might have been boring.
It might have been.
To think about it. her high school team just set Lacey. 16-12, because she's at a disadvantage because of her height here at this level. Much less of a disadvantage for her in high school.
Yes.
And she's so effective at this level, she had to have dominated there. Met her dad after that first game.
Really super nice
Mm-hmm.
guy. Very proud of his daughter, which he should be. Anybody that plays at this level
yeah.
is a good athlete.
Yep. And has worked hard. At some point in their lives, they've put in the effort to get here. Galt with a pretty good smash there. Liggard able to dig it out. We've got a rally. We haven't seen many of them in this match. Lade keeps it alive. Hortelon taps it over. Turner, the quick tip. Perez is up to the task. Permenter keeps that alive. Back row hit from Mott. Too much on it.
Too much.
That was a good gutty point from Texas A&M International, because I think Southwestern Oklahoma State had the momentum through that point.
I believe so.
A&M International just kept reacting and keeping it alive, and kept it alive long enough for the Bulldogs to make the error, but then giving it right back on the service error, which we've seen them do far too often in this match today. If this ends up being a win for the Bulldogs, no doubt that the Dust Devils will look at the 7 service errors they've logged to this point as part of the reason. That one's going to be wide by Molina, who had been almost perfect in the match earlier today, but these bigger bodies up front for Southwestern Oklahoma State, I think, have gotten in Mia Molina's head a little bit.
Yeah, no, I think you're right, and I think it's intimidating to see, a player that's 6'2" lined up next to a player that's 6 foot or 5'11".
Mm-hmm. Earlier I mentioned that I thought the Bulldogs gained the advantage in this set by just outplaying Texas A&M International. I thought the first 2 sets went to the teams that made the least number of errors, right? Southwestern Oklahoma State put together some really good points, 5-6 points in a row, and took this 4 or 5 point lead, Rick. Since then, we're back to whoever makes the least number of errors is going to win this thing. You get the, either the Bulldogs have got to finish this off, or we're going to see what we saw in that first set when Texas A&M International just comes roaring back on you.
Right.
And the Bulldogs don't have the 8-point cushion they had in that first set.
No, I agree with your assessment. I think it's not like one team is charging. Mm-hmm. It's like they're both sort of being defensive, not trying to make a bad play.
There it was right there. A&M International not ready to seize momentum coming out of that timeout. Flat-footed. Play by the Dust Devils there. Kuzma now serving with a 5-point lead. Ooh, she tries a little lob serve. Thompson with a big hit. Galt now with a tip. Nice dig by Perez. Lade sets it back row. Hortelon. Turner a little bit of trouble with it. It's going to be a bit of a free ball coming over. Let's see if the Dust Devils can set something up. They do to Thompson, who goes at Turner. Turner, the 6-foot setter. I haven't noticed, but it'll be interesting to see if the hitters from Texas A&M International go after her when she's back in that defensive position. She's not going to be as good at digging it out as Mott or Permenter or some of the other players. Bulldogs, as they did in the first set, are going to try and outlast Texas A&M International here.
Fort Lewis team starting to arrive in the gym.
Mm-hmm. Chavez with the serve. Lade sets it up to Molina.
Nice dig.
Great dig by Permenter. That was Molina's best hit of this set.
Yes.
Yeah, and if A&M International gets her going, they are a different team.
Well, I mean, she was really hot there. I think it was that first set or second set, and then not much of her since then.
Boy, a little bit of a miss hit there by Morgan. Good job by the Bulldogs to just get it across, and then Liggert. Mott has to make a play on that one, and it goes into the Bulldog bench, and don't look now. Lade serving, her team down only 3.
Boy.
And, yeah, I think that's why Collins wants a timeout. Lade rattled off all those points in the first set when they were down by 8. A&M International almost got back into it and stole it. 20-17 lead. We're tied at a set apiece. Mott leading the way right now for Southwestern Oklahoma State. She's got 9 kills. Molina with 12 for the Dust Devils.
For the Bulldogs, they've had 8 aces, but they've had 7 service errors.
Mm-hmm.
Which is a net of 1 + 1.
Well, and it's even worse if you're Texas A&M International. They've only had 3 service aces, but they've had 6 service errors.
Right.
You can kind of take it. You're at least 1 to the good.
Right.
If you're the Bulldogs, but you've given away now 3 points at the service stripe if you're Texas A&M International, and you're trailing by 3.
Well, and surprisingly, for me anyway, the Bulldogs have 8 blocks compared to only 3, and I would have thought that.
I think the Bulldogs are the bigger team at the net, and I think that's been part of the difference in this, is that Molina and some of the smaller hitters for Texas A&M International have started to see that wall in front of them and think about it a little bit. Garcia, what a play by Mott. Best dig of the day so far, and we had players from both teams in the net there. The call's going to go against Southwestern Oklahoma State.
Yeah,
there was a belly bump in the middle, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, how do you call one of the? I mean, I suppose you got to call somebody.
Somebody
or maybe call it. I don't know.
Judgment call.
And that's where the volleyball gods say
exactly.
Should have been a no call.
Yep. We're going to have Holloway check back in.
The Bulldogs racing to 25, holding a slight edge here, but in the home stretch, A&M International making another run. Holloway, that's a good serve. Perez does a nice job to keep it alive. Molina, Holloway is there waiting for it. Set it up for Mott into the double block. And Perez and Liggert get it done that time. Garcia and Liggert deny Mott. That hasn't happened very often today.
I was going to say, you're not going to see that very often. We're at 21-19, and I might have to revise my prediction because it's like.
Yeah, I don't know if the winner of this one wins the next one.
Well, it's like nobody wants to put it away, right?
That's exactly right. And so the seesaw is going to keep teetering.
Yeah, this is. It's not so much a precision game.
Boy.
It's more like who makes the least amount of errors.
Pena serving right now, down only a point. Smith with a big one. And she's 6'2". Haley Smith has got the size. When she gets an angle, as long as she's accurate, she's going to be really hard to stop because she can hit down into the block too, even if you throw one up in front of her. Size advantage is big if she can keep her timing. Kuzma off the back set from Chavez, and it was a pretty one. The Bulldogs can see the finish line here. Looking to take a 2-1 advantage over the Dust Devils at Texas A&M International. Permenter sets it across. Laid the back set to Liggert.
Oh, nice.
Good dig by Smith. Mott tips it along the net, gets it just down in front of Hortelon. Set point for Permenter and the Bulldogs. 24-20. It's the Southwestern Oklahoma State lead. Good block from the Bulldogs there. Liggert sends that deep. Chavez sets it ahead to Mott for the finish.
Ouch.
That's wide.
Oh, so close.
That set was just a little too far outside for her to really get an angle on it.
Yes.
Tried to make a play. I like seeing her go hard for it either way. Perez going to try and keep them alive. They've staved off one set point. Permenter handles that easily.
That
Smith.
set was low.
And it was low. Now only a 2-point advantage. It didn't get up enough for Smith to get that attack over the net. Holloway handles back row. They're going to set up Mott in the middle.
There it is.
There's the big block. Boy, that was strength on strength. And Southwestern Oklahoma State won the battle there and the set. They lead it 2-1. We'll be back with set number 4 in just a couple of minutes. Southwestern Oklahoma State University, one of 2 teams in this tournament field that hasn't won here in Wayland this weekend. Looking to change that here. They lead 2-1 over Texas A&M International. A&M International 1-1 in the tournament. Southwestern Oklahoma State 0-1 after losing earlier today to CSU Pueblo. They serve to start this match, and Garcia misses. Wide right there. Bob Bonner, Rick O'Block with you on the Skyhawks Sports Network. Thanks for joining us. Live streaming all the weekend tournament action on YouTube. We are social media influencers now,
go.
Rick.
We've self-proclaimed.
Well, as in every social media influencer self-proclaimed. At least they start out that way.
Good point.
Molina off the block and out. We're tied at 1 apiece. The players that we saw yesterday for Guerra, we've seen Garcia come back in now, but Sierra Long, we haven't seen at all. Couple of players who played big roles in that loss to Fort Lewis last night have not played at all today. That one's off the block and out. Side out for Southwestern Oklahoma State. Holloway in to serve. She's had mixed results from back there tonight.
You know, she serves well, but she's had several service errors.
It's a fine line. You're really good servers, isn't it? That's just sort of what it shows you.
Wow.
Oh, boy, did Molina get behind that one, but she missed wide left. Put a heck of a charge into the ball. Holloway to serve, up 3-1. Southwestern Oklahoma State looking to put this away in 4 sets. Oh, nice dig by Perez. And another big block by Sparks. Those bigs for Southwestern Oklahoma State starting to feel it. Not necessarily on the attack, Rick, but I think blocking the bigs of Southwestern Oklahoma State have made a big difference in this one.
Oh, yes, no doubt about it. We have a substitution. Valentina Bahaman.
We saw her a little bit earlier today. She brings height. She is just a straight-up middle blocker. So I think maybe out there to counter what I was just talking about.
I think you're right.
Bahaman, a 6'2 senior out of Santiago de Cali, Colombia. She was big in the win over East Central earlier today. Back to serve now, Rebecca Pena, who's starting to see a little more floor later in the day. There's Smith, punches it back. Pena handles it. The back set to Leggert is just a bit long. Boy, the line judge right on top of it. It's a 5-2 lead now for Southwestern Oklahoma State. Permenter, the libero, who has stayed in that role. She gave it up a little bit in their earlier match, but they gave her the white shirt back to start this one, and she has gotten the job done. Nice job at the service stripe. She leads everybody in digs right now with 12.
Coach Brittany Harry is not happy. Threw her clipboard on the chair, which rolled out onto the floor.
And said, "What is this?" to her team when they came and sat out. You can almost see the pain and anguish in her eyes right now. I mean, she expects better from her team. And again, I'm not going to – they're playing poorly right now, but I'm going to give some of the credit for that to Southwestern Oklahoma State. What they do well is block well.
Yes.
And Texas A&M International is having a little trouble with that. I think that makes seeing Southwestern Oklahoma State do that now, which they didn't do in their first set or first match today. You know, it means this game between them and Fort Lewis College tomorrow is going to be a lot better than I anticipated because of the net presence they're showing now. It's frustrating Texas A&M International. And Coach Harry has made some personnel changes, too, to try and scrape a win. It's a non-conference game, but these are conference opponents, too.
Yes,
so there's going to be some memory imprint of this game that probably plays a role in the rest of that conference season when they get going. Here comes Mott.
Oh, what a shot.
What a great fine cross court. And look at the line judge right on top of it. Perez did everything she could to get to it. And, yeah, we're going to see Hortelon come off back row. And Ariana Guerra, who is one of the players I said we hadn't seen since last night, getting her first look today. Permenter serves to Perez. The back set to Leggert. Big double block. And even right there, Leggert reacted to keep it alive, but then didn't get out of the way quickly enough to let Pena make a play on the ball. Now we're getting to the point where we are just flat-footed on the side of Texas A&M International, and I think frustrated by what a fine job Southwestern Oklahoma State's doing on the block. Just throwing up walls. Boy, nice job by Guerra to hit around it. Smith with the answer, though, gets it in.
Oh, this one's slipping away quickly for Texas A&M International University.
I got to tell you, Ariana Guerra, though, another homegrown product from Laredo, Texas. She had a nice hit on that point. Let's see if they go to her again. They do. Guerra is going to score off the tip there. So sometimes it's just a question of when you're struggling against the other team's block, just put another hitter in there who doesn't have any memory of it. And I think that's what we're seeing from Guerra. The senior's just out there. She hasn't been stuffed yet, and so she's swinging more freely than her teammates were. Chance to get Texas A&M International back in it. And Smith, we see her miss. She's like the kid in Mighty Ducks. Right? You know, I mean, I think she's more of a 2 out of 5 than a 1 out of 5 type of player. But, boy, when she's on, nobody's going to stop her. But she is a little erratic from time to time. Mott just going to send the free ball over. Big hit from Guerra. That time the block is effective. Guerra tried to keep it alive, but Smith and Kuzma deny her. Sorry, actually, it's a fun name to say. I'll let you say Kuzma the rest of the way.
That's okay.
I've hogged all the Kuzmas.
It's okay.
That is Turner back to serve, the 6-foot setter. Guerra with the tip. Oh. Nice job by Turner on the cover there, but Holloway unable to keep it alive. I was just getting ready to say, when you've got a 6-foot setter, you give and take a little.
Yes.
That's an extra blocker up front, but when she's on the back row, she's not going to get to those dig balls as well as a Holloway or a Perment or two. And that time you saw that one on Turner. She did a great job of covering the tip and digging that up, which is what a setter's supposed to do. Holloway just unable to keep the play alive. And now Quintana in to serve, and she's one of those players I wish I could stand along the baseline and watch one, because she's obviously one of their better servers. They put her in these situations just to serve. Doesn't really look like anything special from here, but I think if it's coming right at you, it's got a lot of sideways movement. It's one of those knuckleballs that's so tough to deal with. Mott trickles one over.
Takes a little bit off that and fools them. They're so used to her hitting these cannon shots.
Out of self-defense, you have to defend that way against her. I think you have to defend the smash first and react to the tip.
Yep.
And, so she's going to score some points on tips. Texas A&M International's drawn a little closer here. The Bulldogs still in control. Guerra going to have to tip that over. Comes right back from Galt. Back set now to Thompson. And there you see Turner again.
Right.
That's that bigger player, not as quick, unable to handle that on the cross-court smash from Thompson. The lead's down to 4. And Guerra back to serve now. She's been a real spark plug since she came in. Permenter handles that easily. Kuzma has just got to punch it across, though, off the short set. Turner tracks that one down. Morgan wheels and deals. Now it's Molina with an answer. No trouble back row there for the Bulldogs. Galt tries to tip it down the line and misses. We saw her in the third set play very well. Galt had a stretch there where she was really visible. Disappeared again, and when the team turns to her there, that's a rare miss for her. Like I said, we're used to her being quiet. We've seen that.
Yes.
But when it has come her way, she's generally done something with it. It's a big point for Kuzma there. And she earned herself the serve. Bulldogs up by 4. Texas A&M International has stopped the bleeding, though. I think they were down by 7 or 8 when they brought Guerra in the game for Hortelon. Hortelon has been maybe their best player over the course of the weekend, but she struggled here tonight. Thompson puts that one down. The big middle blocker starting to have her way with the Bulldog front a little bit. The lead down to 3, and Thompson will serve it up. Into the net.
Those are such killers. Momentum killers.
Thompson rotates out, Perez in. And as a coach at this level, you don't even have to say that to your players anymore.
Right.
I think they know it, right?
Right.
There's no need for "you're killing me" smalls there.
Yeah.
At this level, players know it.
Sometimes not saying anything is more effective than saying something.
Melina gets a good set there, knows what to do with it. She had been scuffling a little bit in this match. Liggert back in as Quintana goes to the bench. The setter Lade on to serve. Texas A&M International and Fort Lewis, the two teams that only run with one setter. Lade for Texas A&M International, Lambos for Fort Lewis. Everybody else running a 6-2 offense here this weekend, where they rotate two setters. Molina off the block, took something off of it, and coming right after she made that big cross-court smash, flat-footed back row, she took advantage of it.
Timeout by Southwest Oklahoma.
Well, they've seen that 7-point lead get whittled all the way down to 13-11. I think it was like 11-4. And it's been almost all Texas A&M International since they subbed Guerra in there for Hortelon.
You know it's a long day when Chris Skinner's standing up shaking his arms out, right?
The Skyhawks public address announcer, I'm sure you've heard his voice in the background. Well, we've deliberately let you hear his voice, introducing the starters today all day. We got to get a break in sometime. Rick and I will be back with 5 matches tomorrow. We've got one more here tonight, so don't turn out the lights after this one's through. We've got one more to go. Fort Lewis and East Central will be on the court, warming up immediately after this one's over. How long that's going to take, very much in doubt right now, as Texas A&M International has come roaring back, down only 2 points here, but they still trail at 2-1 against Southwestern Oklahoma State University. Pair of Lone Star Conference rivals playing a non-conference game here in Wayland Gymnasium. Preseason tournaments give you some fun matchups.
Oh, absolutely.
Morgan checks out, Holloway back in to serve, and she's settled down after several service errors in the first couple of sets. She's starting to get it in with more consistency. It's a good serve there. Guerra plays it back row. They're going to set it up to Molina. Nice job by Chavez to keep it alive, and Holloway just has to send the free ball over. Molina, another big swing. Holloway does a nice job laying out to dig it, but no real help from Sparks at the net. Lead is back to 2, and Rebecca Pena to serve, the 5'4" defensive specialist, another homegrown product from Laredo, Texas. There's Sparks, and there we see Bahaman. We talked about that was the other substitution at the net to help neutralize some of the size of Southwestern Oklahoma State.
14-13.
She's just sort of been a quiet influence out there, but a big point for Bahaman there. 1 point lead now for the Bulldogs. Mott sends it across flat-footed. Here comes Liggert with a big swing and a kill. We're tied at 14, and the momentum all with the Dust Devils right now. Pena continues to serve. Southwestern Oklahoma State's going to have to find something. Sparks able to get it done there, beats Liggert at the net. That was just off center. It wasn't a middle hit, and Bahaman wasn't able to get in on the block, so Sparks was able to go head-to-head with a shorter player there and get it done.
Yeah, they needed that play bad.
Fermenter with a nice serve. Guerra with the smash right into that double block. Liggert runs into the block. They keep it alive. Perez sends it deep, but she carried it a little bit.
Double hit. Who wants it more, Bob? Ooh. That's really what it boils down to, right?
Well, except if you want it too much, then you get tight and,
Sure.
Who's willing to do what it takes to get it might be a question. Look at that.
Guerra.
Yeah, she has been a difference maker since she came on. The lead back down to 1 for the Bulldogs, and Lexi Perez back to serve. The libero hasn't come off the floor all day for Texas A&M International. Kuzma into the block of Thompson, and Liggert gets stuffed. They do have fun in volleyball. Volleyball and softball are fun because the players on the bench stay so engaged. They really are part of the action, even if they're not on the floor. And there's a miss hit from Smith into the net. That attacking error is going to give the lead to Texas A&M International. You see Coach Collins look at his assistants to see if they've got any answers. The Dust Devils looking to even this up at 2 sets apiece. Sanchez with the tip, but Perez was on top of it. Guerra denied by the block, but Liggert sends it across. Here's a free ball. Chance to set it up for Mott. Good dig by Perez, just laying in wait. Liggert into the block. Denied by Mott and Kuzma. We're tied at 17.
I will say Southwest Oklahoma State has very good court coverage. They're very quick and athletic. And most of the players out there have good foot speed.
Now here we're going to see Southwestern Oklahoma State get bigger again with the bigger setter Turner in the game. Guerra, nice tip. Good job by Permenter to just send it back across. Guerra again winds and fires, able to get on top of it and get that one down in front of Permenter. The lead swings back to the Dust Devils, and they're bringing their ace server on, Quintana. Liggert rotates off.
And it is odd because she doesn't have like this monster serve, but there's just something with it.
I think there's a bunch of movement on that, just a slight backspin rotation as it comes over the net. And you see just something happened. That backspin is tough to handle on the serve receive end because that 2-hit call is a result of it. It's, like I said, it doesn't look like much here. It looks like it just sort of drifts over, but it's got to look like a knuckleball on the other side. Kuzma punches this deep, and it's just too deep.
I thought that was on the line, but
we haven't seen any challenges in this match, and we're not going to see one there apparently. Timeout Bulldogs. Suddenly, they find themselves trailing 20-17 and looking more and more like, for the first time ever, your prediction's going to be wrong. The winner of the third set may not win the fourth set, Rick.
First time ever, Bob. It's just
first time ever in my presence.
Well, so hard.
I mean, I'm sure your wife could come up with a few examples.
Yeah.
I guarantee if you want to call my wife, she can come up with several today on me.
Yeah, we don't want to go down that road, because that situation is I'm wrong all the time.
She can list on one hand the number of times you've been right.
And I just had my 43rd anniversary.
By just acknowledging that you're wrong all the time.
There you go. Exactly. It went from, no, it isn't right, to you are absolutely right.
I think even more than hearing you're absolutely right, they like hearing, no, I was wrong.
Oh, yeah, well.
I think that's where the real pleasure comes in. Quintana looking to serve this thing out, and a bit too deep.
All right, and we've got Lacey Mott up serving. And she's had some good runs while she's been serving.
Morgan checks back in for Holloway along the front row. And this is as big a lineup as they'll put on the floor. And the size is what gave them the lead through most of this set. Any advantage Southwestern Oklahoma State has enjoyed, it's been their size on the block. Yep. Guerra beats it there. She goes right between Kuzma and Galt. And down the sideline. Boy, has Guerra been a factor since entering the game a few points ago. She came in with Texas A&M International down by 4 or 5.
Oh, totally.
There's a good serve. 8-up Parmenter. She just never got set on that one. 22-18.
Oh, we're going to 5 sets, it looks like.
Yeah, Coach Collins is got that looking at his feet thing going on the bench right now for the Bulldogs. Galt goes cross court, misses wide. They're going to call a tip. I didn't see it. But no argument from Thompson, so it must have happened. Here comes Sparks back in for Permenter. That's that situation again, Rick. No libero on the floor. A really, really big lineup for Southwestern Oklahoma State. But if Texas A&M International is able to run their offense at all, now are they going to dispute that tip call, or is it the score we've got a problem with? Must be a challenge. Nope. You can hear the Southwestern Oklahoma State fans saying, play ball.
Really? I'm really sort of astonished that coaches can interrupt play like this. I mean, it's really quite astonishing. The other thing is I'm really sort of surprised that each team doesn't have somebody that keeps score for them.
Mm-hmm. In high school, they do.
Yeah.
In high school, each team's got a book.
Yeah, I mean, it's so disruptive. 19-22.
Except for here, I think she's given up the momentum her team. I think Texas A&M International had the momentum. I think this is working in Southwestern Oklahoma State's favor. She's talking to Thompson, and I think Thompson is the one that they said tipped that ball. And so Thompson's saying that she didn't.
Well, of course she is. All right, well, here we go.
Yeah, it took a while.
Kuzma to serve. Down by 3.
Up by a set. Good serve. Eats up Guerra. And, yeah, the delay there, I thought, was actually working against Texas A&M International. If Kuzma and the Bulldogs are able to roll another point here, I might declare myself right, Rick. Lade sets it over to Molina. Off the block, dug out in the back row by Kuzma. And then Galt goes too deep, but that one's tipped. The line judge.
Oh, no.
Oh, and now wait a second. The line judge is overruled by the platform official, and Cameron Turner going to go over and ask about that. I think you challenge. If you're Collins, you challenge here no matter what. The line judge saw something that he called a tip on.
You know,
the stand official overruled that, which stand official can, but
boy.
It does take the air out of the game, though, doesn't
it? Totally.
And I think where you've got challenges, either use it or don't, right? I think that's what officials can get better at, is saying, Coach, do you want to use it?
Right.
Because both of these drawn-out little affairs have been over tips or non-tips. They've been over tip calls.
Yeah, I mean, and this is all new,
and that's something that can be challenged. So I think an official just needs to look at a coach, give them about 10 seconds to plead their case and say, do you want to challenge? Show me the green card.
Right.
Otherwise, we're going to play. There's a big hit by Galt. They needed it.
21-23.
That helped them avoid a set point there. Chavez. Therese Chavez on to serve. Down by 2. Goes after Guerra. Going to set up Molina, goes cross court and misses. Bulldogs back to within a point. Chavez serves again, looking to tie it, and that's too deep. You just saw that off her hand, and I think that was the case with A&M International. That was a big one, though, because now that's set point.
Right.
And it's Emma Lade, who is one of their best servers and clearly one of their best players. She never leaves the floor. She has rattled off a couple of point runs from the service stripe. Ooh, Sparks just about forced a side out right away there. Southwestern with another chance to run a play. Oh, and what a big hit from Smith. Paints the near sideline, the far sideline. That'll bring Holloway in to serve. Down by a point. This is still set point.
Right. If they lose this, it's set.
Big situation for the transfer from New Mexico State. The former Aggie needs to first and foremost get it in. Does to Guerra.
Oh.
And A&M International went over the net there. Bahaman reached over the net to try and keep that one in play, and Southwestern Oklahoma State has survived a couple of set points.
Holloway's had
a
little bit of trouble with her serve at times, but got that one in.
Been pretty good in this match.
Yes.
Molina with a big kill down the far sideline. Painted it.
And you got to know, neither team wants to go to that fifth set, right?
Well, International does.
Well, sure.
And they've got a set point here to force it.
They would prefer.
Yeah, they would have preferred winning the third set and being able to put it away here. But Lade to Guerra.
Out. Oh, they said
and there's going to be a touch. I think they touched it twice. And that ends the fourth set. We're tied at 2 apiece. Rick, we're going to need 5 to decide this one. We'll be back with the deciding set in just a few minutes. Welcome back to Wayland Gymnasium. This is what you live for, 5 setters.
When you're a player, you'd rather not.
Yeah. I'm okay with it. I thought we'd see today. Not real surprised that it's this one.
Yeah, I agree.
These two Lone Star teams came in. One of them 3-1, one of them 4-0. They both lost their first games here. A&M International has won a game. They were able to beat East Central earlier today. Southwestern Oklahoma State's only game in the tournament so far lost to CSU Pueblo. After going 3-1 a week ago in, I believe, Canyon, Texas, they played down at the West Texas A&M Festival. Went 3-1. First to 15 is what we're all about here. You got to win by 2.
Oh, boy.
Boy, Mott had been really, really quiet in that last set.
Yes.
Nice job by Guerra on the receiving end there. Good long rally to start the 5th set. Kuzma with the tip. Perez gets a hand on it, but can't keep it in play.
That was a good play.
A quick side out and a quick point to Southwestern Oklahoma State. Lacey Mott back to serve. I don't know if she's run out of gas or a little bit, or if A&M International just started defending her really well, but she was really quiet at the end of that last set, Rick. There's Mott to Turner. Galt down the line. Lays that just inside the back line. Oh, boy, I'm really surprised by that challenge. Coach Harry was right on top of it, though. This is the first challenge we've had in this match, I think. We've had at least one challenge in every match so far. This is the first one here, and it comes in the 5th set.
Yeah, we've had a lot of stoppage of play.
Yeah, and maybe there may have been some talk after that last set with both coaches about if you want to talk anymore, you better get the green card out.
I would hope so.
Because I'm surprised that she challenged that one. I thought it was clearly in. Let's see if I'm right. She had a good vantage point from where she was standing. I mean, and it was a no-doubter. She made a beeline for the green card, showed it to the official, and said, let's take another look.
So my takeaway on instant replay are two things. The first one being they should have 2 officials that review the play, not just one. The second is that if you are going to talk to the official about a play, you would be required to take a timeout. We've got
or use a challenge.
Right.
Because, yeah, you're okay with the amount of extra time you take doing a replay challenge.
Sure.
Because you should get the benefit of not having those long stoppages of coaches wanting to talk it over with the officials, right? I mean, one of the nice things about replay is you don't have to do the people part.
Well, and then I'm not sure, but I wonder if you have a replay and you fail, if you lose a timeout like you do.
Yeah, I don't know what the penalty is, or if there is one.
There should be, is my point, if there is not.
Well, they've been hesitant enough to use their challenges that there's got to be some downside to it.
Well, you get 3 challenges.
Right. Well, I said we've seen one coach use 2. No other coaches use more than 1 in a match so far.
Yeah,
so
and
running out of challenges hasn't been a problem.
Right. So you get 3 challenges for 4 sets, and then you get an extra one in the 5th set.
Oh, so you get – they didn't use any of their first – so do they each just get 1 here in the extra set?
I don't know if it carries over.
Are they each sitting on 4? In which case we're going to see all kinds of challenges. Bohammond.
Oh.
Or Bohammond, sorry, with a big hit. They brought her in to neutralize the size advantage of Southwestern Oklahoma State University. She's not a big dominant player, but I do think she's been a difference maker.
Well, she hasn't had any spikes at all, but she's a presence at the net.
Yeah, if nothing else counters all the presence at the net that Southwestern Oklahoma State brings. And there we see Guerra has continued to have a resurgence here after not seeing her all day. She came in and just hasn't known any better. She's been attacking that big block of Southwestern Oklahoma State after some of her teammates had gotten timid from being stuffed a few times. And there you see her go right at it again, and she attacked it quickly.
Yeah.
That allowed her to get down on it and get it down between the defenders in the net. Kuzma and Galt slow to throw up the block. Texas A&M International took advantage. They lead it by 1.
Miss hit.
Perminter. Perminter's been a pretty sure-handed libero, but a couple of errors in the last couple of sets have come at tough times for the Bulldogs. Pena sends it across again. Turner, the back set. Easy answer for the Dust Devils. Legert's first swing of the 5th set. Score the kill for her, and A&M International now with a 3-point bulge.
Well, playing to 15, they're 1/3 of the way there, and right now everything is in their favor, swinging in their favor.
Coach Collins with a quick timeout. Josh Collins, he's been there 12 years. Don't have a amount of time for Brittany Harry on the bench, but she certainly looks like she's comfortable there, like she's been at Texas A&M International a little while. Her team had to rally to come back and win the 4th set and force this 5th set, so you would expect them to have the momentum to start set number 5, and that is, in fact, the case. Southwestern Oklahoma State going to have to dig deep and come up with something here. We are now over an hour behind schedule, if anybody cares. But
we apologize about the schedule was really condensed.
It was tight, and
it was an hour and a half per match with a half hour in between, and you go to these 4 sets.
First match of the day went 4 sets, and schedule went out the window. Turner sets up Morgan. Perez there with the answer. Guerra with the smash. Oh! Kuzma, that's some great athleticism. The ability to jump again that quickly and accurately set that ball down along the end line.
Kuzma,
that's a big side out for the Bulldogs.
Yes, it is. Kuzma serving.
She's been much better in this match than she was earlier today against CSU Pueblo. Guerra goes cross court and misses.
Boy, she can power the ball.
Yeah, that's why I was surprised that she stayed on the bench for so much of the day. But
wow,
she's made her presence felt here. Misfired there, though. And Southwestern Oklahoma State a chance to tie it up if Kuzma can keep rolling points. Guerra with the dig. They go right back to her. She's got to hit it flat-footed. Morgan handles. Turner the back set to Morgan. Perez out of the back row. Good pass up front. Liggert down the sideline. Mott handles that one. Quick set to Sparks. Lade is on top of it. Liggert again into the double block. Lade digs it out. Perez will set up Guerra on the other side. Easy play for Southwestern Oklahoma. Let's see if Galt can get one down. Perez was waiting for it. Lade sets Liggert into the double block and out of bounds. Liggert perseveres and wins the long rally for Texas A&M International. Their lead's back to 2, and Perez will serve after the side out. Lixay Perez. Turner in the middle to Morgan. Lade unable to make a play on that one. Goes off of her hand and out of bounds. Side out back to the Bulldogs. And this is where you're going to tighten up a little bit. No, it's Chavez. I thought it was Mott who was stepping back to serve. And I was going to say, boy, if I'm on the other side of the net, I'm really focusing on this point. I think they need to do it anyways with Chavez serving. Lade sets up Guerra off the double block. Great dig. And then Sparks able to get it across off the wing. Sparks with a big block, but it's out. Perez almost played it and let it drop. I think she went down and saw that she was on the line.
Yeah.
And that made her let it go. Big, big point for Texas A&M International. And now they're going to go to their ace server, Quintana.
Well,
Man, I just want to run down to the baseline and watch it. Because just judging by the defenders who have to play this thing, look at that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's Mott. We don't see her make mistakes.
I mean, they're going to switch sides.
Switch
here.
sides. First team to 8, you switch sides.
But
in set number 5.
If somebody like Mott has difficulty on that serve, you know that something weird there's going on. There's got to be some kind of movement or something, because it's not overpowering at all.
Nope, it's that flat backspin knuckleball that, to be quite honest, it's what I do when I was still playing rec league volleyball, but I only actually got it in 1 out of 5. I was the 1 out of 5 Mighty Ducks kid. A little front spin on that one. She might have the ability to change it up. Boy, what a weapon she is if that's the case. Chavez to Smith. Big block from Thompson.
They gave up on that ball after it got blocked.
A 4-point lead in Southwestern Oklahoma State, in danger of losing their second game of the day. Texas A&M International looking for their second win of the day after losing to the host Fort Lewis College Skyhawks last night. Their only loss of the season so far for the Dust Devils. But boy, the Bulldogs have made it awful tough on them. The Bulldogs will have 2 games tomorrow, one against East Central, the other against Fort Lewis.
Fort Lewis has
1 o'clock game.
One game tomorrow at
1 o'clock against the Bulldogs.
Yeah.
A&M International also only playing 1 game tomorrow, with them and the Skyhawks starting things off on Thursday night. That's why we only have 5 games tomorrow instead of 6. We had that one on the schedule last night. Let's see if the Bulldogs have one more rally in them. Boy, they've shown some character after playing really quite poorly in their first game of the day. They played much better here in this one. Pretty entertaining matchup between these two teams that obviously know each other a little. You just get that feeling watching them play. Morgan, nice layout by Guerra on the dig. Pena sends it back across. Here comes Morgan again. Perez digs it out. They'll feed Guerra into the double block. Nobody home.
I'll tell you, Guerra can take over a game. That's the one thing I've noticed, that she is so powerful, and when she's on, she's dominant.
I think the Bulldogs were so good on the block through like the second and third sets that they boogabooed all the other hitters of Texas A&M International. There's a kill from Sparks, and I think Guerra came off the bench and just didn't know any better and went back to attacking like they were at the start.
Yeah, I agree with you.
And so, yeah, she has taken over the game because she's really the only hitter on the Dust Devil squad that had the desire to by the time they put her out there. She's about ready to carry them to a 5-set victory here if Holloway can't get him on a roll. That one's off the block of either Smith or Sparks and out of bounds. Molina going to check back in for Pena.
And it's Guerra again. The hammer, as you like to say.
How fitting would it be if Ariana Guerra, the 5'10 senior, hometown girl from Laredo, unable to serve it out there. Permenter, the libero, will serve now. Jada Permenter, a 5'5 freshman out of Amarillo. They're going to set up Mott. She hammers it off the pin. She actually hit the outside of the pin first before it went into the blockers. Which gives the points to the Dust Devils. Now 3 points away from closing out a 5-set victory. Their second of the day. Molina. Mott plays that one. They give it right back to her in the middle, goes deep, and Guerra's there waiting. Molina going to go cross court. gets it off the block, spins it down on the Bulldogs' side of the net, beyond the reach of Mott, and it's a 13-7 lead for Texas A&M International. No timeout forthcoming from Coach Josh Collins. Thompson serves. Holloway, a nice dig to keep it alive. Mott fires and lands it just in. Turner back into set. She'll serve. Galt back on the front line.
This is it. This is their chance to pull back to
you need to get
a
few points at least here before you face match point.
There's one.
Wow, Guerra unable to handle that serve. That's exactly what you needed from Cameron Turner, was an ace in that situation. The lead cut down to 4. Turner, a 6-foot sophomore out of Edmond, Oklahoma. Deer Creek High School. A little bit of a jump serve. Guerra handles that one. Here comes Molina, winds and fires. Permenter digs it out off the block. Galt with a smash into the block. Mott going to set it back up to Galt. She goes deep with it that time. Perez able to dig it out. Here comes Guerra, back row hits too deep. 13-10. Not so fast, say the Bulldogs. And I think if Turner can get them one more point, they start to breathe just a little bit easier maybe. And the air starts getting a little tight for Texas A&M International. Cameron Turner sends it across. Guerra, a little bit of a miss hit. This is going to be a free ball coming back to Southwest Oklahoma State. Let's see if they can get it to Mott for the kill. Tips it deep. Guerra with a nice play to keep it alive. Molina goes cross court. Big dig from Holloway. Back set. The tip from Kuzma is no good, and Perez punches it to the deep corner beyond the reach of Permenter. That was a heck of a play by Perez.
5'2", and she put that in the only spot that it could have been, the back corner of the court.
Match point here, and it's Lade serving again at the end of the match. Holloway gets it across, keeps the Bulldogs' hopes alive for a moment.
That's it.
But the final kill comes from Bahaman, and Texas A&M International holds on to win in 5 sets. They put away set number 5, 15-10. Don't go anywhere. We got one more. Fort Lewis College, the host team, in our 6th and final game of the day, will take on East Central. We'll be back in 1/2 hour with the first serve.